What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Wars in the Stars, episode number 89. Today, very exciting episode, actually. We are, yes, we originally started this podcast with my former co host, Alex, a couple months after The Mandalorian season 2. It feels like forever since this show has come out, since we've seen these two characters. I mean, we saw them in the Book of Boba Fett, obviously, but yeah, now they're back in their own show, and I'm excited today to talk about it. We'll go to Stormy first. How you doing today? Before we talk about the show, how you doing today, my man?
I'm pretty good. I'm coming off of recently meeting Giancarlo Esposito, which was pretty cool. So
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Did you get a chance to talk to him? It's pretty quick, I assume. Did you talk to him for like a minute?
then he signed the Funko Pop I gave him. Ooh.
Oh, that's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Did he say anything to you, or what was like the interaction like?
Yeah, no, I talked to him about what's it called, like how like Mando's coming out, how excited he is. I asked him for like some tips on acting and stuff because I want to get into like the whole business of movies and everything. He was really nice. He was very professional too. I really like. He was such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've only heard positive things about when fans meet Giancarlo, and he definitely seems like he's really engaged with whatever audience it is. Obviously Gus Fring and the Breaking Bad universe, and obviously Moff Gideon in the Mandalorian universe. He's just a fantastic actor as it is.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see him play like a hero or like at least a good guy.
but yeah. I know
Um,
like people who want him to be a Marvel want him to play a good guy.
yeah. But yeah, he's awesome. That's cool that you got to meet him. Did you meet anybody else at I assume you went to a Comic-Con, right? Or
It was
whatever, like
convention. I met
yeah.
Ralph Marquade, who plays Aaron in The Walking Dead, and Infinity Ultron and Red Skull, and Infinity War Endgame and What If.
Oh, that's so cool. That's cool. Or did you get anything signed from them, or was it just
Yeah,
like
I got
nice?
it from him. Woo.
That's nice. That's really cool.
No, yeah, Andre. He was. I talked to him for like 7 minutes. He was like engaging with everybody for such a long time.
Really, really, yeah. I'm surprised because usually those type of things they try to move the line along or but that's cool that they take time for their fans and stuff like that. I always appreciate guys who do that, whether it's in like sports or whether it's in acting or just, celebrities taking time out of their day. That's always a really cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Um for me, I mean I've just been busy, same old, same old. Have spring break this week, so that's kind of nice for me.
Ooh, that's nice.
Um yeah, it is nice. Yeah. College can be a little bit uh monotonous. It can just kind of be like doing the same thing over and over, kind of I wouldn't say grueling. I think high school is like more reflective of what the real world looks like. You get up at 6, you're going from 6 to 3,
Yeah.
6 to 5 every day. College is like it's very, if you're not a structured person, college could be tough for you. So like I mean I honestly prefer high school better because it's more reflective of what your job's gonna look like. But anyways, yeah, it's nice to get a little break once in every while. But we'll get to now talk about the Mandalorian season 3, episode 1. We'll start with you. What are your just overall general thoughts about the episode and where you think things are gonna go?
Well, I'm really excited. I'm so happy that Mando and Grogu are back. They're like probably like in my top 5 favorite Star Wars duos. They're like so entertaining to watch. And I'm like top 5 Grogu supporters of all time. Seeing him is like amazing again. Um, I do want to say like after coming off of Andor, this felt like really goofy. Like I think because I was like very used to the tone of Andor, it kind of shows like how like serious Star Wars can get, kind of like how goofy it can get.
Hmm.
Still liked it. And I really like missed the show after. What's it been like? I think it was 2 years since season 2 came out.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years plus, right? It was the end of 20. It was the COVID year. It was 2020. Yeah, it was
Yeah, it
like
was
December 20.
Yeah, it was December 18th. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doing
I mean, oh, go ahead.
No, you can go. You can go.
Um, yeah, I forgot how much I always loved this show. Like this is one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars media. It really holds a special place in my heart because it kind of got me back into the franchise. Um when the first season came out, it was before Rise. It was before Rise, and just leading up to the months before Rise of Skywalker, I was kind of just like, can you hear me okay, by the way? My Wi-Fi is kind of shaky.
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay. Um the months leading into the Rise of Skywalker, I was just not excited for that film. And then going to see the film, I was like, "What the hell is this?" So like the Mandalorian kind of saved, I would say, Star Wars for me. I feel like if I don't have the Mandalorian, I watch the stuff still, but I don't think I'm as passionate of a fan. I don't think I'm doing this. I don't think I'm talking about the stuff
Yeah.
like I am now. I just love the characters. I love the world. It seems like John and Dave just like really care about the universe. They really care about. I think the biggest thing is like pleasing fans. I really think it's that simple.
Mhm.
I know you want to make your own story, but like I really think what it comes down to is just having the general audience enjoy it. It's just such an enjoyable show, and I agree with you about the Andor thing. I really like Andor, but like every time I watch this show, even this episode's like not even a top 10 Mando episode, and I'm like, I still would rather watch this than Andor. And Andor is great, don't get me wrong, but this is just what like Star Wars is to me, and what I think it like should feel like. It should invoke these type of feelings of goofiness, but also religious like iconography. Like it's the perfect blend of like what Star Wars is. So I really enjoyed it, and we can get into more details. So we get
Yeah.
to you. What did you really like from this episode?
I like how I think every single season has had like a big monster in it. Like for the first episode, the first one was like that ice monster in season one. It was the crate dragon in season two, and this one it was like this alligator monster. I kind of like how that's a theme. Every opening season is like a giant monster that they fight. I thought that was really cool. I liked also the Davy Jones like squid pirate monster thing. It didn't look like amazing with the mouth moving, but like the creature just looks so unique. It was funny. It was a cool design.
Yeah, it was a really funny design. I'll go to that opening scene because it's probably my favorite of the episode, honestly. Obviously, what I really like found interesting is obviously Star Wars like has religious parallels. Obviously, like the Force, the Sith. These are obviously like cults. They're obviously religious sects. Um, the Mandalorian's another basically religion, and I found it interesting, like just from like the way they set up the scene, like where they're baptizing the kid, basically, like it invoked a lot of for me Old Testament and even New Testament type of stuff. Um, that sort of thing, like just the structure, like them being in a desert, that being like the only place of water to baptize the kid. I will say, like some of the helmets and stuff look kind of goofy. Um, like it was a little weird. I was like, that looks a little goofy.
Like that hard players to like get in on the new season. Like, oh yeah, you got a minor costume. You can be in this like scene for 5 minutes.
Yeah, right, right. It's just like, that looks a little off. It doesn't look right. And it looked especially weird on kids, like just ginormous helmets on kids. I'm like, that looks weird, but whatever. It did
That
take me from the scene. Um, I thought it was really good, really well done. Seeing that big action set piece, and then like you obviously knew he was gonna come in. Um, with the Starfighter Din. So I thought that was really well done. It was probably my favorite part of the episode. Um, but it's really interesting. I think this episode, I think you would agree, and I think most people agree, does a really good job of establishing where we're going, like the storylines of the season. So obviously, we got this whole thing with Din going to Mandalore. We got this whole thing with Bo Katan. We got the stuff on Navarro. I want to ask you, like, what did you think about like how this episode set things up? Did you think it did a good job? And I want to ask you, compared to there's another question to this, so a couple questions. In my opinion, this is still probably the worst premiere episode of the 3 seasons. I still
Mhm.
liked it, but uh, do you agree with those type of things? Do you agree that like this was a good setup episode, and this was like, I guess, the worst premiere of the three?
Yeah, no, I think too because the season two one is my favorite premiere. I think it's kind of hard to get to that, especially too with the cliffhanger they left with the end of season two episode one. I think
Right.
it's like I said, still like a good episode, and it like gets me excited for the future. The only thing that I didn't like is that they're kind of setting up like a side quest to reprogram IG-11, which like I don't really feel like that's necessary. Like it's just like I want to get to like this all this math stuff. Not that I want to get to it. It just feels like it's unnecessary that we need IG-11 for this like whole mission. Now we need to go on a side quest to go get him first, and then we go to Mandalore.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of like trying to think. That's always kind of like been the structure of the show almost, and I don't like it all the time. Like for example, what's it? The Gunslinger in season one. It's like terrible with Toro Calican. That episode's horrible. Like it's terribly acted. It's Dave's, I think, second directed thing in
Mhm.
live action, and it was like really bad. It was like terrible. It's like by far the worst episode of the show, and a show that doesn't have bad episodes.
Mhm.
But like I don't mind it. It's interesting to me that they want to bring IG-11 back. I mean, there is rumors about what they're going to use him as, but we won't get into that. We won't get into that since the season's going now. But I have an idea where they're going with it. But yeah, I can see that. I can see that testament. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I think Mandalore's like literally next week. I think he's just going now. I know he says he wants the IG unit, but I really feel like that it's maybe not in the beginning of the episode, but by the end of the episode, he will be on Mandalore, and that might be the cliffhanger. Like him, literally, it's the shot we see of Sundari, him getting ready to land where the mines are. So like, I understand that 100%. Um, and I want to ask you because to me, all since season one, after season one, the Navarro stuff has just been the weakest stuff for me. Like I don't care. I like Grief Karga. I really love Carl Weathers. Weathers, obviously Apollo Creed, like fantastic. But I want to ask you. It seems like is this gonna be this pirate type of deal? D- do you really care what's going on with Navarro? Like, does that really matter to you? Is that a plot that you want to see explored a little bit in the season?
Well, I know I think we're definitely going to go back to Navarro on episode 4 because Carl Weathers is directing episode 4 and he's in every single episode he's directed so far. So I think we'll come back there in season 4. But like, I like seeing how Navarro has evolved as a planet. Like how like you could see like by the beginning it's just kind of like this rundown town, and how it's kind of like evolved now into like this highly respected, like kind of like yeah like civilization. Like there's like instead of a bar now there's a school. It's like things are much brighter, more colorful. They're like fixing stuff up for the planet. I like the evolution of it, but like just going there all the time, it's like, yeah, I don't need a quick checkup like all the time, guys. Like it's nice to see it. It's not something that's needed.
Right, right. I agree with that. So what? Okay, so follow up to that. What do you think will come of this like pirate conflict with Grief? Do you think that will even evolve Mando, or do you think that's a type of thing that maybe like half the episode they focus on Din and Grogu, and maybe like half the episode they focus on Grief Karga and that type of deal? What do you think about that?
I think maybe because like they kind of teased that they needed a marshal. Maybe it'll introduce like I don't know either Cobb Vance, which I don't think is gonna happen, but I know a lot of people have like speculated that could happen. Cobb Vance could be the marshal of the town. Like I think it might set up like a new marshal for Navarro in the end of the day, or Grogu will get captured by the pirates or something like that. Because I can't believe that they're just going to introduce pirates just to be silly funny. And maybe they'll introduce like I'm sorry, maybe they'll like bring Hondo into live action with it too. That'd be fun.
Maybe Hondo as the marshal. I know that's wild, but like, hey, Hondo, maybe he's like, I don't like these band of pirates either. Let me go and help you out. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how we get Hondo. We know he's alive. We're waiting
But no, he's
for the
alive
moment.
by the sequels. He's like by the time of Rise of Skywalker, he's still alive because Galaxy's Edge is technically canon to the Star Wars universe, and he's alive in that time.
Right. So like, hey, like he's around. Might as well use him. I think Cobb Vanth makes the most sense, but like, I don't, I don't want this to become the type of thing where like every single show in this universe is just trying to explain everything within the universe. Like at some point, it has to like just the Mandalorian does as well. Just focus on the titular characters, Din and Grogu. Like the Book of Boba Fett obviously did a terrible job of that, right? Like half of the episodes aren't even about
Boba Fett, yeah.
Boba Fett. So I don't want this to become a thing like, oh, we're gonna focus on Din. Oh, we want to focus on here. Here's Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth's going to Navarro now, and like it would. You would have to take like half an episode to an episode to explain how that even like logistically happens. I love Timothy Olyphant. I really like Cobb
Yeah.
Vanth. It's crazy to me that like you have a book character who was in 3 chapters of 3 books as like this star of this part of the Star Wars universe. So like I like him, but like that's a whole nother story in itself. I guess another thing I would ask because I feel like we kind of have to ask it. How do you feel like they handled the whole Cara Dune thing?
I mean, I don't think she's gonna get recasting, but I think it was fine. It was like, oh, she's at the New Republic now. But now the thing is, because we know Moff Gideon's coming back for the season, like that's already confirmed. We're gonna see Moff Gideon. If she went to the New Republic to go lock up Moff Gideon, are we gonna see? Are we gonna hear more about where Kara is when we go visit Moff Gideon at some point? Do you think that would happen? We could like she'll get like another reference, or we'll get like more into detail when we visit Moff Gideon.
Right, because they say she's like special ops now, right? She's just part
Yeah.
of a special unit. She's special ops. I'm sure like the explanation is just gonna be like she's busy. She's on a mission. I feel like they've dealt with it the best they could. Obviously, it's a very controversial thing in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, it's stuff like this happens. So like, I feel like they did the best job they could. They didn't like say, oh, she's just dead. Like that would have pissed people off, and they knew that. So they're like, let's just be like, hey, she's kind of gone. Like it happened. Logically, like when you rewatch the Mandalorian season 2, which I did leading up to the show, like it's very clear they're setting up her to be like a big character in like Rangers of the New Republic, which was going to be her own show. Like it was very clear that they were doing that,
Yeah.
and now it's like in universe, like the explanation's kind of weird. It's like, okay, that's not what you're setting up, but it happens. We have real world stuff that happens. So I think they did a fine job with it.
I think they should just recast too. At the end of the day, I think that'd just be the best option.
Yeah,
For
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, there's gonna be people pissed about it, but I guess at the end of the day, you can't like please everybody. And mostly these people who are pissed about it are people who don't like really consume the product anymore or aren't your fans. They just like to bitch at everything.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, yeah, I'd be fine with the recast. Honestly, it'd be fine.
It's not like Gina Carano played like had like such a good performance. We're like, oh my gosh, I need Gina Carano back in this role right now.
Right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was. I actually enjoyed the character itself in the show. I thought I really liked their character.
Mhm.
I thought there was some interesting layers to it.
Yeah.
Is Gina the best actor? No, absolutely not. But like, it doesn't. It's like a typecast role. It's not very like they needed a strong brute physical woman to play the role, and Gino obviously being an MMA person who became an actor, like that just made sense. So like it's whatever. I tend to agree. Like I'm fine with the recast, honestly, especially since she's a big part of the universe, right? So
Yeah.
like I agree with that, honestly. I guess we'll kind of go now, or where do you want to go? What do you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to talk about?
No, I thought there was. I caught with the IG-11 escape thing. There was it was a Terminator S sequence. I don't know if you noticed that. It was very Terminator when IG-11 like came back to life and everything.
Yes. It was kind of weird because I obviously have been watching The Last of Us. Pedro Pascal, by the way, killing it. Two of the top shows in the world right now. I was just like, this just like looks like a dead
Yeah, like a zombie.
like a clicker right now or something, just dead on the ground, running away. And it was a really good sequence. I actually really liked it. It was goofy. I think the show like just has the perfect blend of like when IG-11 is going after him, it's like goofy, but at the same time terrifying.
Now, when he tossed Gru, I was laughing. That was.
I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, what just happened? Somebody also made a funny joke or like pointed out something funny when Mando goes in to speak to the Babu Frick people.
Mhm.
Like I would have loved to see a scene of like Din like crawling into the lair. Like he would
Yeah.
have to crawl in. Yeah. So I mean, I will ask her because obviously we end this episode with Bo-Katan, obviously in a state of massive depression. She's taken a big L. She
Yeah.
can't lead her people anymore. She's
Yeah.
basically just in this castle by herself. What do you think's going on with Bo-Katan? What do you think's up here?
Well, honestly, it seems like I really don't know what they're gonna do about Bo-Katan at this point because her character right now just seems like bored and done. I think maybe if Mando like gets everybody back to Mandalore, she'll be interested again. Like right now, like Din was just walking around with the dark saber. She didn't even care. She's like, you know what, bro? I've been trying for that thing for like 30 years now, bro. I'm good. Like I'm so done with this thing. It's like she just looked like she was just like my people like literally dipped and took the starship. Like there's nothing else for me to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, I think what they're going to do is I think eventually Din will get other Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you were saying, she'll become interested. I think there'll be, I don't know what they're going to, they keep teasing the fact that there's going to be a conflict, but I don't see them having a conflict at this point.
You know, they like released a poster to like a couple of days ago with like them on each side of the dark saber. Like I don't see a conflict brewing right now. Maybe later down the line there'll be more of a conflict, but right now from that one scene alone, it just looks like she's like, bro, just get out of here, bro.
I think maybe you could make the argument she's trying to trick Din into like rallying the troops. So that way, like when they have all the Mandalorians, she can then challenge him and then defeat him and then take it over. But like I don't even see her doing that because like I feel like she may do that. She's probably gonna lose to Din.
I feel like that'd be like a big 180 of her character though. Like that would just be like a total just like thing I feel like she would not do. Like her whole thing is uniting the Mandalorians together. And so when this one dude has already united the Mandalorians together, she's gonna try to stop that and then take that for herself.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but like to me, Bo-Katan's like a very interesting character, right? Because like when we first meet her, she's a terrorist, like straight up a terrorist. We have to like remember that it's also weird when she's like says stuff about Death Watch and stuff like that. I'm like, you literally were like with them for
Yeah.
like a good period of time. So like her character is complex and I would argue like sporadic, like in her decision making. So I wouldn't be surprised if she did something like that. Truthfully, she does want Mandalore to unite, but I think deep down, I think she still believes, her sister ruled the planet. It's her destiny too, as well. And I think she may challenge Din and then may realize, oh, he's actually the best option, and then become like an advisor. I really think by the end of the show, and then also there's this question of Sabine kind of has to be in this conversation, but like she's not.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on there? Because if we're going to be honest, Sabine lays a very good claim to the darksaber, giving it up to Bo-Katan and then Bo losing to Moff Gideon. So like, the last legitimate winner is Sabine. So like, Din shouldn't even like really have it.
Yeah.
So there's just those layers to it. But yeah, Bo-Katan, very interesting place she's in. Depressed, like lost everything, and is kind of given up. And I think Din's going to be that person that gives her hope.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do have a couple questions about Din. So Din wants to go to the mines of Mandalore to be again essentially in religious terms baptized, be brought back into the creed. Do you think he actually does it?
Yeah, probably. I say I mean, I feel like that's the whole reason they're going to Mandalore for that. If he doesn't find it, then like I don't really know where the show goes on from there. But like I'm sure he'll find it. And he'll be like, oh my gosh, look, I have this, and I'll have the dark saber now. I think we should unite Mandalore because he's gonna find out that the planet either wasn't poisoned or isn't poisoned anymore, and that there's actually room to grow. And then he brings the Mandalorians there. I think that's a possibility, but I think he'll probably find the mines.
Now, again, a follow up to that would be: do you think he eventually just? As I feel like in order for him to be the leader of Mandalore, he has to accept always a Mandalorian culture.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think like he gets to a point where he may get rebaptized, but like he eventually realizes that this is no pun intended, this is not the way,
Mm-hmm.
and that like he needs to like unite Mandalorians by like showing his face, by accepting all cultures? Do you think he gets to a point where he just leaves the creed on his own, even after being like rebaptized? I feel like that's always the way it was gonna go, but like I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I hope that's the way he goes. I hate that stupid cult, bro. Like, oh my, they're gonna be like, oh, if you get baptized, it's your son next. Like, no, 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 no. No. It's like, bro, I have the dark saber. Why do you have to be like? Don't you have to follow me now? That's what I'd be like to the armor. Like, I have the dark saber. Like, what are you gonna tell me? I'm not a Mandalorian. Do you have this?
Yeah, it was always so weird to me. It's like, didn't I'm like, the Book of Boba Fett. I remember when I first watched the episode, it's like, you're not a Mandalorian. Like, you literally have no right to say that right now. Literally, dude holds the weapon that unites like the entire culture. And then Din is very like Din is like the audience. Like Din is just confused as we are. He
Mm-hmm.
just goes around like, oh no, okay, I guess I'm not a Mandalorian now. And it was
Yeah,
so funny too. The opening scene where he literally saves everybody and they're still pissed at him. Like, what?
we had that, bro. Like, we had that.
Like, no, thank you. Like, literally. Um, no, but yeah, I think overall, I would give this episode like a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it did everything it needed to. Oh, and I want to ask. Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. The Purgle. Do you think that's Dave Filoni just teasing us?
Oh, Yeah, I think that's just a tease for Ezra in the future. That was cool. That was a great shot. It was shot very well.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, it makes me think about like what other Jedi see because it's
You
just
know,
like,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, is that just a Grogu thing, or is that like a thing that everybody could see? Like only like Jedi or some Force sensitive people can see it, or like could Mando also see it if he was awake?
yeah, I know. It's like, I feel like it's only a thing Grogu could see, but it's
Hmm.
also but it mostly made me think about like Jedi and stuff. Like, I'm like, could just Jedi in general do that? And I would assume so. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so.
I mean, I also
What do
do
you?
the
Oh, go
Purgles.
ahead.
I do hate like the idea of Purgles in general, but like they were cool to see.
You do? Why do you not like them? I
I
don't like them either.
I think that just in Rebel Suit they were introduced as just a plot device and that was it. And I find the fact that just like creatures traversing hyperspace just sounds stupid and just makes no sense.
I mean, it is Star Wars, man. So like, hey,
Yeah,
anything
the
goes, I
whale
guess.
going at beyond light speed to travel the galaxy just seems like I know Star Wars is like it's not realistic, but that just seems extra unrealistic.
They have to eat that space gas from the. They have to eat that gas, and then they
Yeah.
go. It's crazy. Do you think that was? Do you think anyway? Was that Grogu sensing Ezra or something like that?
Mm, probably not.
That's
He
kind
looked
of a reach.
fascinated at yeah. I think he just looked fascinated at the whales. I think it was kind of like a tease to be like, oh yeah, I know you guys saw us at the end of Rebels, huh? You know what that means? And then like it's just a little tease like that.
That would have been really funny if it was just like them dragging the Star Destroyer.
That would
It
have
was
been
just,
amazing.
and we were like, whoa, wait. That would have been cool. Yeah. What would you rate this episode, and what do you want to see next week, or what do you expect to see?
I'd probably rate it 8 out of 10. It was a good introduction, and it was nice to see all these characters again. I was happy to see Mando and Grogu back. And for next week, um, probably Mandalore. I hope they don't go on the stupid some stupid. We need to fight apart for IG-11, and then we go to Mandalore in episode 3. Or if they just get straight to the point. But that's probably not gonna happen. But that's my hopes is that they go straight to Mandalore.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy if you think about if they went straight to Mandalore. I kind of thought that would be like the end of the season, but I think more so we're gonna spend more time than we or anybody thought on Mandalore. I think next week they will be on Mandalore. I think there's like even a possibility. I think it's probably a good chance that he goes because like there's like literally one other mechanic he knows it. It's
Yeah.
Pelimoto. I think good chance he goes there,
Oh,
to Tatooine.
too.
Um, yeah. Um, I doubt we see Boba.
Really? I feel like it'd
I,
be weird to not include Boba in the series after like Mando took up a part of his show.
yeah, I feel like it would too, but I feel like it it'd be kind of weird because like you couldn't have like Boba Fett like at this point as like a cameo.
Hmm.
Like, oh hey, I'm gonna part. Hello.
Yeah,
Um, so like he would have to go to Mandalore, but why would Boba want to go to Mandalore? Like there's no. I mean, I'm sure they could make an explanation. I'm sure probably by the end of the show, when there's like a big Mandalorian civil war or something going on with Moff Gideon, Boba will be there. But I
yeah,
don't think right now. I think right now he's gonna go to Pelly and he might get that part. Maybe not. Maybe he uses somebody else. And then by the end of the episode, he'll be on Mandalore. Um, and we might not see the mines, but by the end of the episode, he will be on Mandalore. So,
yeah.
I mean, overall, I think a really good start to the season. Definitely not a top 10 episode of the show, but it's not bad either. It's still really solid for me.
Well, yeah, every episode
Uh,
then 2 was like a banger in my opinion. Like all those one
yeah,
ends.
we got like really like the only like bad episode is the spider one, and that's not even like terrible.
Yeah.
It's just like it's there. So like yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes. Got anything else to say?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, that's a good discussion about the Mandalorian. Let's move into the Bad Batch. What do you think? I think it's been a 4, maybe I think 3 or 4 weeks. I think the last episode we talked about was 8. I can look at it actually. I think it was episode 8.
It
So
was before the Senate Rampart one.
yes, it was. So what do you think about the show? Because we were very critical, obviously, and I think a lot of people were. But I might be pumping my brakes. It's given me, Clone Wars vibes. It's been very good. What do you think?
Well, I think I've missed 2 episodes in between. I wasn't really interested after the Palpatine thing. After the Palpatine thing, I was like, oh my god, that was so good, and I was so scared. I like stopped for 2 weeks. I was like, I'm gonna end it on a good note, and then I heard that the most recent one last week's was really good, and so I watched last week's. But
Okay.
episodes alone, especially episode was it? I'll just call it the Zelo Beast episode. That one was
Mhm.
really good and really interesting, especially with all the Imperial scientists. I wanted more of that so much.
So, are you still have you still not watched one of the episodes?
I've seen the Palpatine and like Coruscant one, and I've seen the Zelo Beast one, but not the two like in between those.
Oh, okay. Don't watch those. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be on. Dad, don't watch them.
because I was scared that it was gonna ruin it.
One of them is like, okay. One of them is about like, oh, what are they called? Um, they're in Fallen Order. The Zepho.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
That one's okay, and it's like with the archaeologist lady that's from Bad Batch. Never heard of it. What's up, my man Alex? It was like weird. It was weird, and then the Fallen episode was with a guy. It was weird. They went to a planet. They had their ship lost. It's like typical Bad Batch episode, right? Typical Bad Batch episode. But the last, the Zillow Beast one, let's talk about that because that's one of my favorite Clone Wars episodes, and
Yeah,
like it just hasn't been answered. What did you think
I thought it
of
was
the
good. That was
episode?
one of my favorites as a kid. I loved that one when I was younger. Yeah, that was really cool. Like especially, I like the Imperial stuff. Like where we're getting into like what the scientists were doing more than the Zelo Beast stuff. But even then, like the Zelo Beast stuff was cool. I liked kind of the horror vibe they gave in the beginning. Like the opening was very good and very suspenseful. I like that. But I'm just really interested in all the scientist stuff. That's like where I'm like, ooh, what's happening here?
Yeah, I agree. I remember like the opening. I'm like, oh my god, they're actually doing it. It's still alive. It's like
Mhm.
yes. And then we saw like the little one running around, and I'm like, what? They're not doing the Zillow Beast.
Yeah,
And then like I didn't realize like so they didn't really answer the question like where the original one is.
I'm assuming it's either dead and that's its son or daughter, or like it's still in captivity.
Yeah, I would assume it's dead as well. They don't say anything, but I was like, yes, it's still alive. And I thought like when they were showing that because at the end of the Clone Wars episode, they talk about sending it off to like a planet, I think,
Mhm.
and then they never touch it again. So I thought this was like a Clone Wars flashback. Like it was in the Clone Wars that this was actually happening, but it seems like it takes place a little bit after. Um, and then we got to see the knockoff Zillo Beast, the clone Zillo Beast, which was cool. I didn't remember it. Like, did the original one like grow big like that? Is that how it grew big?
I remember it growing off of electricity. Is that what it did?
I don't remember it doing that.
I think it was just big monsters that we find. It was like disturbing the planet it was on, and then, like the Jedi had to like take care of it.
Yeah,
That's
it
what,
was on Malastare. I remember it was on Malastare
yeah.
or something like that. And they used like the ray guns like they do in this episode to like put it to sleep still. Um but no, yeah, I thought that episode really well done. Really good callback. I agree. Um Also tech development. They actually have developed some of the characters. Um, so I want to hear your thoughts on that because that's been actually our biggest complaint. Before we talk about like the engineering and the genetics and all that. Where's this going? What do you think about um the Jesus Christ the character development for some of these characters?
It's actually been really good as of lately because like especially too with like Echo gone, I think it gives more of the characters some more space to like breathe. Since we have like one less member, we can focus like more in like having heavily on other members now. So I think Echo gone actually, which what we last time we talked, that's what we both wanted with him to go with Rex, and like that's what he did this episode. Sorry, the last episode, and now like all these characters have time to breathe and like grow. So I'm actually happy with the development that Tech's been getting. He's gotten, I think, the most, I'd argue, this season, probably.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Has a really good episode with Omega where like you see him show more emotion. You obviously see him stepping up more because like he has to. There's just like three of them plus Omega.
Yep.
Omega I think's had some really good development still, becoming more mature. There's a really good moment like Omega is still like very innocent and like I don't remember who it was. Oh, it's Tech. Tech straight up like says, um, "Oh, it ate the crew," and
Mhm.
like Omega gets all freaked out, like
What?
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really good moment. But I agree. I think Echo not being there opens up room for some development. And now that I think of it, where is Crosshair?
Oh yeah. There were the what's called the ninth episode is called Crosshairs. I think I'm pretty sure it's called something like that. I think it's called Cross something or other.
The Crossing.
Yeah, that's. I was like, oh, Crosshair episode, but nope, there was nothing there.
Wow, Crosshair hasn't been in an episode. He's been in one episode.
I think they don't care about Crosshair. I think the fans care about Crosshair, but they don't care about Crosshair.
The Solidary clone. He's been in one episode. That's crazy. Well, actually, that's a good thing. That means the show's been doing good. If we've
Yeah.
forgotten about that. I mean, I've been really impressed with the last few weeks. Honestly, it's been the best stretch of the show. Um, we can now move into the Senate stuff. The
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine scene. Terrifying. What did
I
you
know.
think of that?
I loved how he manipulated the entire Senate. That was so good. How he was like, he still got what he wanted in the end. Because if the tapes didn't get leaked, the clone still would have gotten phased out. If it did get leaked, he could have just could have introduced a stormtrooper plan because they just blindly followed orders. So just either way, it was just a win-win. I love like it just continues to show how he just outsmarts everyone.
Yeah, it was like so like I'm like, yo, they did it. I mean, we know that like the stormtroopers were coming, but I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they delayed it a little bit or something like that. And then he comes up. I'm like, what? Like that's crazy. That was really well done, I thought. Shout out Ian McDermott. 5 minutes of work.
Yeah, he came to the studio like spit bars and then left.
Yeah, he really did. Really well done scene, chilling. Because it's like it's even established in the episode, like he doesn't come out. Like the Senate's just the Senate, and it's like he's not there anymore. He's doing his own thing. Um, but like it was very chilling, and it just shows. Okay, I have always been curious about this because I've always interpreted Palpatine as like 7 steps ahead of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Because some people think he just like happens to not know everything and he doesn't plan ahead. He's just an opportunist. And when he sees an opportunity, he seizes it. Or he's like a mastermind that plans 8 steps ahead.
If this was like before the Rise of Skywalker, I'd say he's an opportunist. But now, after Rise of Skywalker, it just seems like he has a plan for everything now.
Really, yeah. Well, there's a couple. I think there's only really one time I can think of off the top of my head right now that like he didn't know the Zillow Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zillow Beast could have killed him and nothing would have mattered at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of like the idea of him being a master puppet, just knowing it being like 10 steps ahead. Like, even though the Bad Batch, like, it just fits so well. Like, him playing both sides of the war and then this. Like, even us knowing what happens next chronologically,
Mm-hmm.
thinking they did it. Like, they did it. Like, the Rampart's arrested. The clones are going to get, like, their bill passed. Like, we're going to see the corruption within the Empire. And then he pops up. It's
Yeah.
like he's 10 steps ahead. He planned for this worst case scenario. And like to somehow turn that to be like, yeah, Rampart straight up did it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up did it on his own. And like arrested Rampart. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh, so I was cheering, bro. I was like, I'm sick of his ass. Get him out of here right now. Oh my gosh.
Not a big Rampart guy.
No, just knock off Tarkin out and you knock off Tarkin in the show.
That is true. That is very true. What did you think about that arc besides that? We got Rex, we got some others, we got this new interesting clone that was like an assassin. What did you think about all that?
I like really like right behind this episode. They didn't really establish like go into like detail like why Echo left. He had this conversation too about leaving the Bad Batch off screen. Like even though like when Omega was like they're like, oh bye Crosshair. I was like, bye Echo, bye Echo. And she's like, wait, what? I was like, oh yeah, wait, what? He's leaving? It's like because it wasn't really built up to, which I think they kind of should have done.
Yeah, I agree. There was a really good meme about it, and it was like Omega's asking, "Why are you leaving the show?" And Echo was saying, "It's because the show writers don't know what the fuck to do with my character." Like,
Yeah,
it's literally true. It's literally true. They do not know what to do with its character.
I feel that's why I feel like Echo just should stay dead because he can't be with Rex because of Rebels, and if he goes back with the Bad Batch, they're still not going to do anything with him. Like he's just in
Yeah,
a great spot.
I really, I was always like, as a kid, when like they released like the unreleased, like the unedited, like the unfinished versions of Clone Wars, and they're like, we were gonna bring Echo back. I was like, wait, what?
I was like, I remember watching that. I was on some Star Wars YouTuber's channel. I was like, who's Echo again? I like searched it up. And I found Echo. I was like, oh, okay.
Because his death was sad, man. Like his death was really sad.
Like I wasn't like, dang, bro. I can't believe we lost Echo that one time. Y'all remember when we lost Echo that one time in Clone Wars, guys? It was just like I was like the main clone I was affected by was like Five. So that was like my guy.
Right, right. But like I was like, because it made sense, like the domino squad, and each domino fell like one at a time.
Yeah,
Like it made sense, and then now it's like, okay, one of them's still
one
alive.
more left.
And then I also think like I think the interesting way they can go with the character is like we don't see him at the time of Rebels. We don't Bad Batch is not around by then, obviously.
Yeah.
I really think an interesting thing is the base on Hoth is called Echo Base.
Mm-hmm.
Just pretty simple. Just be like, it's named after this guy. Be a really cool tie into the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting. Um,
Yeah, it's not like it's going to like break Star Wars canon or anything. It's not like it's going to be like super important to Star Wars canon or anything. It just be like a nice little touch thing.
nice little touch thing. Yeah, I agree with that. Senator Chuchi, we obviously saw. I want to ask you about the weird clone guy that was the assassin. What
Mm-hmm.
do you think is up with him?
Um, I thought at first like he was kind of like a guy for hire. Like he was like you could hire him like since like the clones have all been like delisted and everything.
Right.
But I guess not. I didn't really have too much to think about him. I was just like, oh, a clone assassin. That's a pretty cool concept. When they kind of just like, other than that, like one line of dialogue, like one scene they had, they didn't really talk about him like that ever again.
I thought it was Crosshair at first and just new armor. I was like, is that Crosshair? And then I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, it's a bounty hunter. And then I'm like, then they were like, it's a clone. I was like, what? That's crazy. That's nuts. Um, I really think it's when Rampart was saying like clones that left or decommissioned or like left or went AWOL. I really think that's what he was doing with some of them, was like using them as assassins.
Oh, that's a
Um, I think he was using some of them as assassins, maybe. But I'm like, I don't know. He's like very anti-clone, so like I have no idea.
he even
Uh,
expects like Crosser, who's like by far like the best clone that he has right now.
right, right. I agree with that. Um, Now to go back to this whole thing with the Zillo Beast, obviously we know they were cloning the Zillo Beast. Get
Mm-hmm.
back to like the geneticist, the scientist. What do you think is going on Tantus? What do you think is up? How is this going to tie to the end of the season and maybe tie into even further Star Wars canon with Palpatine and Grogu and whatever's going on with the clone? And what do you think it's going to tie all together?
Probably into Palpatine's thing of how like how he cloned himself and everything. And does that mean too? Does that mean like Palpatine's part Zelo Beast, and then therefore like Rey is like 1/16th Zelo Beast?
I mean, maybe. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting. That'd be kind of weird. Cool. I think, I honestly think with that, it might have to do more with them trying to create the perfect soldier.
That could be. I could see that too. I just.
I would,
No, I could see that happening. But I feel like they kind of like almost have that with the Bad Batch, and I feel like the
yeah,
Empire kind of just like done with cloning people for like for the military, like just like for like military uses. Like I think maybe like the most they do is like clone force users. I think they're kind of done with just like cloning like with like soldiers in general.
yeah, I agree. I can see that for sure. I mean, I really think though, it's just like I'm having a hard time drawing the parallel from the Zillo Beast to whatever the Palpatine was on Exegol. I'm just like having a hard time doing that.
Hmm.
So like, I think for me, it's right now because the last episode is Order 99. We heard Lama Su in season 1 talk about like phase 3 of the Clone Troopers.
Yeah.
We're hearing now about like they wanted to use the Zillo Beast for armor, right? Because that's what they talked about. It's like impenetrable skin. I really think it has something to do with soldiers at this point, but I wouldn't be surprised if it eventually
Hmm.
evolved in the first Force users. And I think it also has something to do with Omega. We still don't know
Yeah.
anything about what's up with her. What do you think is like going on there?
I not gonna lie, I think she's gonna be in some type of way like Palpatine's gonna want her at some. He finds out her existence. I feel like there's no reason for him not to because she's like I feel like Palpatine would just like want him like with that much of advanced cloning because I think right now on screen like Boba Fett and Omega are like the best uses we've seen of cloning like by far like out of anybody
And
else.
he's not going to get Boba unless he went out and got because Boba's like basically at this point in the timeline almost like getting into his prime, getting into his young teens, like early
Oh,
20s.
yeah, Boba I think in his early sorry, his late teens like 19 became the best bounty hunter of his time I think by like his
Yeah,
late
yeah. So like he's like approaching like that territory. So like yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know where they're going, and that's kind of a good thing.
yeah.
I really just I hope it doesn't tie to Palpatine. I'm kind of tired of that. I didn't want to just like it's like beating a dead horse. I don't want to do it anymore. Like it happened. It wasn't good. Um,
I feel like they're just trying to do what they did with the prequels, how like, Clone Wars trying to redeem the prequels for a lot of people. I feel like they're trying to do that with Palpatine. Like it's just like, oh guys, we know we messed up with that. We're gonna try to do a little fixies real quick, see if we can patch this up. Which is like, I don't really think we need it. Like it happened. Like I don't need a whole explanation. Y'all already said Palpatine returned. That's my answer. Like, all right, guys, like
yeah,
you
yeah,
got some of the bag. Just accept that you filmed the bag.
yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think it will, and I think Grogu will somehow tie into that. And I think the whole plot in the Mandalorian, and maybe we change our mind on it, and that's a great thing about it. We could change our mind about it. Do you got anything else you want to talk about from the Bad Batch, or what do you think? What do you think? We got what like 4 or 5 weeks left, I think.
3, yeah, 3 or 4 left. I think
Yeah,
four.
we got 5 episodes left, 4 weeks left. Um, what do you think's up? What do you think we're gonna get?
I hope Crosshair still. I want to know what's happening with him. I also want to answer which where Cody went. I feel like that is like after that they kind of just abandoned those two characters. I wouldn't mind. It's not that I want to see the Bad Batch in the show. I wouldn't mind an episode where it's Rex and Echo, and they find Cody somehow, and that'll kind of be involved in Crosshair would like hunt them down. I feel like that'd be an interesting premise because you have two Bad Batch members, so it's not like you're neglecting all of Bad Batch. You're just telling them with like two different members. I feel
That'd
like
be
that.
cool.
Yeah. So I hope they kind of go in that direction. And I want to learn more about Mount Tantus and this special new doctor they're talking about. I thought like he was like an established character, something from like a book or something I haven't read, but now he's like a totally new character.
Yeah, I was like, do I know this guy?
Yeah.
It's really weird. I like him. He's interesting. He's definitely the new like villain, obviously, and I kind of like. It's better than like generic like Rampart, who's just generic like
Yeah, like
Imperial
Red,
bad guy.
yeah, he's just like Tarkin Red. This guy, like, he's like, oh, it's like a new like advanced like cloning dude. Like, we haven't really seen like, we've seen like a bunch of talented cloners, but not like one like specialized dude who's like in charge of it all, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 100%. Yeah, I mean, I do you got anything else? Because I'm good if you are.
Yeah, no, that's all I have.
All right, that's perfect. Yeah, so that's it for the show. Thank you as always for watching. Stormy is always great, great show, fantastic. We'll be back. We definitely will be back this week again, because I'm off still. So we'll be back to talk about Mandalorian, season 3, episode 2, and Bad Batch season 2, episode number 12, and whatever other news comes out. It's been kind of quiet for Marvel and even DC. Well, Shazam comes out soon, right?
I think it comes out 17. No, maybe I think it's the 17th or something like that. I think it's 2 weeks from
I
now.
am not going to watch it. So
You are not?
no, I don't like Shazam.
I'm gonna wait till like last minute reviews, like I did with the Batman, just in case to see if people like it or not. If they,
Really, really.
I
You
thought
did that with the Batman?
I thought the trailers looked good, but I was kind of scared because people were like, I think people were overhyping that way too much. Oh, it's the next Dark Knight. I'm like, okay, guys, calm down a little bit. And then like reviews came out, and it was like, oh, I'll buy a ticket for tomorrow. Might as well. So I think I'll do that with Shazam. If the reviews are good, I'll be like, oh, I'll give it a try.
I think that like the trailers are terrible.
Oh no, every trailer has been really bad, which like shocks me because the first Shazam was so good.
Yeah. I don't even like. I know a lot of people love. I just don't. I don't like it.
No,
I gotta go. I gotta go see Creed though. I'm going to see Creed 3 this week. I heard it's really good. Is it good? Have you seen it?
no, I'm seeing it on Tuesday.
Okay, I might actually be seeing it Tuesday as well. I gotta go. I'm so excited. I love Michael Beach, and I love the Creed franchise, the Rocky franchise, in general. But,
Yeah.
anyways, fantastic show as always. As always, may the force be with you. May you stay burdened with glorious purpose. And until next time, see you then. All right.